John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and I'm really happy about this one. What we're going to do in this episode is unbox the all-new Trivest Dynablend Horsepower Plus blender. This is that glass pitcher blender you've been waiting for. I know many of you guys, don't want plastic in your life, want to minimize the amount of plastic, but at the same time you want a high-power blender. Up till date, there's been no high-power glass carafe pitchers in a blender that I've found, so I'm happy to say that Trivest has finally come out with one. It's the most powerful glass carafe blender I've seen with some features like no other. So first off, I want to say that this blender will do things like make green smoothies, fresh fruit smoothies, things like make sauces, make soups, also grind seeds into powder, and also can make some delicious frozen treats for dessert. Alright, and the reason why I like this machine is, number one, it's 1.1 horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower in a blender. Most standard blenders, maybe half horsepower. The Vitamix, on the other hand, is 2+ horsepower. So this is no Vitamix Buddy standard, but right here on the box, actually, the manufacturer claims does all the things a super or high power blender does for half the price of top brands. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm going to be comparing this to the Vitamix in future episodes so you could really learn what's what. I have had the pleasure to use this actually at trade shows before actually getting it myself to find out its capabilities, and it's worked definitely well. And I could definitely say it's not the same as a Vitamix, but it performs better than any other blender that I've tested with a glass carafe. So it's really cool, and it has some features that are not on any other blender at the same time. So with that, let's go ahead and unbox this baby and share with you guys the different components, what they're like, and all the little intricacies of the Trivest Dynablend. Alright, upon opening the box, what we're going to find out is the main part of the machine, and that guy is actually fairly heavy duty. It's the glass carafe. You do not want to drop this because it will break. So if you have clumsy hands, you might want to get a blender with a plastic carafe that's break resistant. So this is nice and heavy duty. It has a nice top here with a triple protection silicone ring here, so it will not allow things to leak out of the blender. In addition, you have a little cap here that you can remove and add things to your blender while it's going. So I like that a lot. Now this carafe is marked up to 60 ounces. It'll probably hold about a total of 64 ounces. Also on the back side we have the milliliters, and it's marked up to 1800 milliliters. Now unlike the Vitamix, which for the most part has a fixed blade and you're not supposed to remove it, this one has a blade actually that you can remove, although it's not recommended. I would probably just remove the blade maybe like once a week for a good cleaning, because there is a gasket in there that may get kind of funky on you. So next, what we have in here, we have, talking about removing the blade removal tool. So the blade removal tool is included with the Trivest Dynablend. How it's going to work is you're going to take the blender carafe, turn it over, and you're going to fit this blade removal tool in the proper slots. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and turn the blade assembly as you're pushing down, and you're going to spin it around, and once you spin it around, the blade assembly should pop right off in your hand. So this is the blade assembly. As you guys can see, the blade is actually stainless steel, 4-prong blade. I like that a lot. And in addition, you have a little silicone gasket. This is the gasket that you may want to probably remove once a week to make sure it's totally clean. Now the cool thing about the Trivest Dynablend is that you get 2 extra silicone gaskets, because these will kind of get funky over time, so you'll be able to replace these as needed. If you should need further silicone gaskets, they are available separately. But in general, cleaning this blender is such a breeze. What you're going to do is you're just going to fill the pitcher up with some water and a little bit of dish soap after each use, and give it a spin for about 60 seconds. And what's really cool about this unit is that it has a pre-programmed automatic time sessions. So you just hit a button, walk away, let it clean itself, come back, dump out the soapy water, and rinse it out, and you're all done. So to put this blade assembly back in, we're just going to go ahead and drop this guy in there. Make sure it's fully seated, and make sure you put that silicone ring back in there. We're going to use the blade tool here and get this on appropriately, and we're going to spin this guy. And we're probably about all tightened up. Now it's very important to ensure when you're removing and replacing the blade that it is fully tightened down. There's more instructions in the instruction manual that comes with the machine, but this is fully tight. If you don't have it fully tightened down, you're going to get leakage, which is not a good thing. Alright, so next thing we got inside here is the Dynablend blender itself. This is the heart of the machine. This is the main motor base. The manufacturer rates it at 1.1 horsepower. It's 850 watts. So it has a nice stainless steel and black finish. And the reason why I like this is because it has a variable speed control knob. And it's also easy to clean up. I've always hated those blenders that has like 16 buttons. One for frappe, one for puree, one for blend, one for mix. Just gets too confusing. They've really simplified it on the TriBest Dynablend blender. It's pretty simple. There's simply an off, an on, and then there's a minimum and maximum variable speed control. So it's like the volume control on your old-fashioned TV that you could turn all the way down to be really low or turn all the way up to be really high. So on this blender you could actually turn it really low just so it blends a little bit, or you could crank it up to high and it goes full speed. The cool thing about this blender is that the full speed is like 23,000 RPMs. So that's a lot of RPMs. You know, for me to have a blender be considered high speed, it has to spin more than 20,000 RPMs. This is where some of the magic happens. If your blender does not spin fast enough, it's not going to be able to do some of the tasks that people into like a plant-based raw foods diet would like. You know, I've had many blenders, played with many of them, and some of them just don't function properly. So I like this a lot. Another thing this has on the bottom here, it actually has 3 buttons, and these are pre-programmed buttons. So these are like if you go into the Jamba Juice and they make a smoothie for you and they hit a button and they're running the blender and then they're doing other stuff, maybe taking your money, and then they come back, the blender turns itself off. This is the blender you do not have to babysit, because literally you could press the pre-programmed button, it'll run for 60 seconds on a blend cycle and then turn itself off automatically, so you could actually hit the blend, it'll blend up, it gets kind of loud, so you could leave the room, you know, make a phone call, do whatever, and come back, it'll turn itself off and it'll be done and your drink will be blended right up. So I like that a lot. In addition, they have a 60-second combo blend, so this will actually vary the speed of the blender as it's running, so you get a better blend. It helps to suck things into the blades to get a better blend. And then finally they have the revolutionary 30-second pulse blend. This is a function that's not available on any other blender to my knowledge at this point, and this is specifically designed for people into raw foods that want to blend up bananas or other soft things that don't need to be fully blended. The pulse blend simply starts out it not being on, it blends it on full for a second, then it turns it off. Blends it on full, turns it off. And doing it this way, you will not overblend the bananas. So I like this feature a lot on the TriBest Dynablend. The last thing in the box, you get the instruction manual. So this is not only just an instruction manual, it also talks about the warranty. The warranty right here, it says 10-year warranty on this machine. I mean, that is super impressive. I mean, this is probably the blender with the longest warranty on the market that I know of. I mean, bar none. So if you get the TriBest Dynablend, you are guaranteed to be free from manufacturer's defects for the next 10 years, which means you'll be able to be blending up green smoothies, fruit smoothies, delicious sauces and soups, so that you can include more fresh fruits and vegetables in your life. I like this a lot. I think it's really important to get a machine with a long warranty. So many machines in this day and age, especially ones that you may see on infomercials, may have a short 90-day warranty, 1-year warranty. You know, and if the machine goes kaput after the warranty expires, guess what? You got to buy a new machine or pay to get the machine fixed. So I like that this has a nice 10-year warranty from the manufacturer. That actually, the manufacturer has been around in business for the last 25 years. So TriBest is here to stay, and they're going to back up the machine if you should have problems with it in the future. So always recommend you guys read the instruction manual. It says how to remove the blade assembly and how to reassemble the blade assembly, how to clean, how to store. Also, the cool thing about this is it actually has a recipe section. So literally a good, I don't know, almost half the book is dedicated to recipes. So if you've never eaten a healthy plant-based diet, there's a lot of recipes in here to help get you started so you can eat a lot healthier today. So I like that they've included the recipes in this book as well. Alright, so there's one more item in the box. Let's see what I didn't get yet. Oh, here it is. This might look like an ice cream scoop to you, but what this is a blender scoop. So once you're done blending, you can actually simply use this blender to scoop your mixtures out of the blender. This is 100% stainless steel, nice and thick, and really strong actually. This would be a perfect scoop to get young coconut meat out of the coconuts as well, just due to its shape. I like it a lot. The other thing that is useful regarding this scoop is that it can be used as an agitator while the blender's on. You just put it in there and this will not go down further as long as you have the top on. So it's critical to not stick anything in the blender, not even run the blender without the top on, so you can help push things or agitate things when you're blending with this nice fancy 100% stainless steel stir stick. So what we're going to do next is actually we're going to do two things. We're going to grind up flax seeds into flax meal, which is something many blenders cannot do. And then second, we're going to make a delicious fruit smoothie with the TriVest Dynablend. What we're going to do now is blend up these flax seeds, or literally, more appropriately, grind these flax seeds up into a powder. Flax seeds are one of my favorite seeds to eat because they are high in omega-3 fatty acids. Most Americans are not eating enough omega-3 fatty acids. They're eating far too many omega-6 fatty acids. So you want to nix the 6 and eat less omega-6s, and you want to eat more omega-3s. The problem with the flax seeds though is that these are hard shells here, and if you just eat a handful of flax seeds, right, literally they're going to go in one end and come out the other end whole. So for optimal digestion, we need to use a blender such as the Dynablend to basically grind up the seed into a powder to make it much more bioavailable, and so that our bodies could absorb the nutrients more effectively. So it's very important when doing this is you want to start off with a dry carafe. You do not want to have any kind of wetness in the carafe, so if you did just wash it, make sure you dry it fairly well, or this will not work because all the seeds will actually stick. So we got a dry carafe here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pour in approximately half a cup of the flax seeds right into the machine. And if you are grinding flax seeds, it's very important not to do more than like a cup at a time. If you do more than a cup at a time, it's not going to work effectively. So next we're just going to go ahead and put on the top here. So now we're going to explain how this blender works. There's a little rotary dial that is all you need to control the blender. Basically when it's in its off position, you're going to see this red light flash. So if you're done using the blender, the manufacturer recommends actually you unplug the blender, because if you do not, this light will continue to flash and be one of those power vampires. When you're ready to blend, then you can actually turn it to the on position, and then the red light, instead of blinking, will turn solid, and then the buttons down below will blink. So you can now run the 60-second blend, the 60-second combo blend, or the 30-second pulse blend at this point if you want. Or what you could do, like I'm going to do now, is you're going to take this dial control and you could crank it up just a little bit. You can turn it on low or crank it all the way up to go on high. As you guys can see now, this blender is blending and it's literally making the seeds fly all over the place. As it's doing that, it's grinding them up. Let's go ahead and turn that blender off, and look at that. We had flax seeds, and then now we got some flax meal. Let's check it out. This is a nice fine meal, a really nice powder, so now this is much more digestible for us. I'm probably actually going to use this to make one of my favorite treats. It's a little dessert I make using a 1-to-1 flax meal to raw carob powder, and then just enough honey to get it to stick together, and man, that's a delicious candy. So it looks like it did a great job on making a meal out of flax. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a smoothie out of some frozen bananas. Right, so I was amazed at how those flax seeds got ground up into a nice powder. The next test is a really hard test for many blenders. What we're going to do next is actually we're going to take these ingredients here and make a nice delicious fruit smoothie. So what we're going to put in first is this guy right here, and this guy is actually cactus fruit juice that I made earlier today. Nice, rich color. I always want to encourage you guys to eat your foods of color, and this is a nice, vibrant color. Now, cactus fruit juice alone tastes really good, but if you want to make it better, good to add these guys right here. These guys are actually frozen bananas. So you take a ripe banana, and then you peel it, and then you freeze it. Whether you put it in a Ziploc container or some kind of Tupperware or a glass container in the freezer, they'll freeze rock hard. And while you could put these whole bananas into the blender to blend it up, it's always best when putting in big pieces, whether it's big fruits and vegetables or big pieces of bananas, to break it up into small pieces. This way the blender will be able to work on it and blend it up much more effectively. So we're just going to break that into a couple pieces there and put both the second banana in there and finally the third banana. So I like using bananas in my smoothies to give it that milkshake consistency. Another thing I like to do is make green smoothies. So I could just use some coconut water, some bananas, and some leafy greens like kale or like spinach or like some collard greens even, to make a delicious green smoothie. One of the things about the high power blenders like the Trivest Dynablend is that it runs so fast and it has nice sharp blades, so it's really going to fractionate and cut up everything into a nice small particle size so that you're going to get better digestion. A lot of inexpensive blenders will leave nice large chunks of unprocessed and unblended foods, and when you drink that, you're not going to get the optimal digestion out of it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and put the top on this blender. And what we're going to do now is we're going to just go ahead and put it on, and now we're just going to use the time blend. So I'm going to hit the combo blend. What this is going to do is it's going to vary the speed of the blender high to low for 60 seconds and then turn itself off automatically. So let's check it out. The reason why I like the combo blend is that it blends and then it stops. And then it speeds up so that all the different items you put in the blender will get thoroughly blended. Of course, at any time you see the blender is finished and you don't want it to run anymore, just hit the button again and it'll stop. This blender did not even need an entire 60 seconds to blend up into this nice, delicious smoothie. So next, can't wait to try this smoothie. This is a nice, brilliant pink color. I always want to encourage you guys to eat your foods of color. Every different color of the rainbow, every different food with different colors will give you a whole spectrum of different phytonutrients and phytochemicals. So let's go ahead and pour this guy out. Check it out, man. Nice, delicious color. Nice, vibrant pink. No artificial flavors here. 100% fruit, baby. Let's check it out. Wow, made the cactus fruit juice taste even better. I can't believe it. I pretty much enjoyed sharing the Dynablend blender with you guys today. So far, so good. It's performing well to all my tests. At its price point, there's nothing else that can compare to its performance. So if you're looking for a high power blender and do not want to pay the high price of the Vitamix or the other high power commercial blenders out there, I think the Dynablend is a solid performer that you may want to consider. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for future videos where I basically will compare the Dynablend to other blenders on the market to show you guys how it performs compared to other blenders. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. I'm so excited for today's episode. What we're going to do is something totally new and different and probably never been done before. What we're going to do is we're going to make watermelon soda.